So for this week, I thought for the audio, I'd actually share something that I had shared after my mom passed on Clubhouse when I started a room called Don't Block Your Blessings. And this Dvar Torah project came out of that, called Light of Infinite, in memory of my kid's Bubby also. I started it on her yahrzeit. So I thought I would just share this audio. Sorry that it might be a little scattered, but I was obviously pretty emotional, but I was sharing something from this parashah, so I thought it would be appropriate to include it here. Thanks for listening, and of course read the full parashah in full at lightofinfinite.com. Thanks so much. Essentially, I was inspired to put this thing together for people to share their own stories, and I have gone through a lot of dark times in my life, and I think, the way that I got out was realizing that, I had so many things in my life that was actually good, and if I was able to get myself into this dark space by just, in my own head and however I was creating that reality, then if I can reach that level of darkness, then the opposite, of course, is true. And that was kind of how I've been able to keep, this positive outlook. And Spiv was also talking about this, and it's a really big thing for me, just kind of balancing and always working on perspective and faith. And when you have that in check, then, that's pretty much everything. And it can guide you through all of the hard times that you go through, because you'll see that those times are there for a reason, and you get a lot out of it is definitely at the end of it. But to be able to keep that faith when that's happening and stay grounded and stay happy, that's hard, and you need to store that in the Torah. I'm Jewish, and we read the Torah portion in groups every week, and 2 weeks ago was the one with Pharaoh and Joseph. And in the Bible, a lot of people know that story, and he's interpreting the dream, and at that he was in jail, and he was like the lowest you can get in Egypt, just this Jewish guy, Joseph, and Pharaoh's at the top. And he had this dream, and he brought in all of the wise men to interpret this dream. And if you know it, it's like the 7 fat cows and the 7 lean, ugly cows at the same time existing. And some of the people were like, oh, you're going to have these 7 beautiful daughters and 7, daughters that are going to die, and all these different interpretations. And, Joseph says his interpretation, and it didn't really make sense that he would be, Pharaoh would appoint him as the top command, second to Pharaoh, and everything would go through Joseph. Based on what? I mean, what did he say that's so different from all the wise men, And what he said was that you're going to have these 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine. And all the wise men said that can't be, because the cows were coexisting. They were existing at the same time. So that doesn't make any sense. And that's why they didn't think about it. And they told Pharaoh that's not what it is. And Joseph said that these 7 cows they're the 7 years of plenty, but what you have to do is prepare and have storehouses for the 7 years that are going to come that are a famine. And the reason they're happening at the same time is because you need to be cognizant of that and prepare for that other time, so that you're going to have plenty in those other years. And the lesson there, so not only did he interpret his dream, he told him what he needs to be doing so that it won't affect him in that way. And I think the big lesson there for us is that, you're going to have ups and downs all the time in your life, and you have to prepare for those downs, and you have to get that faith and perspective in check, because on those other times when you're super down, you don't want to get lost all the way to, some people unfortunately get to the point where they can't come back, and you need to prepare for those times and remind yourself. And you can do that in so many different ways, but that's the only way to get through this, you know what I mean? And you can share that with other people and literally save lives.